I have discovered a lump, so I went to go get it checked out. I was referred here to Ellis Fischel. They had called me back, actually, I do believe it was June the 7th, and they told me that the lump that they found after the biopsy was, in fact, cancer. And that's when I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. I have a family history with, of cancer, so I kind of, prepared myself for it, and, I think I just kind of like, the shock probably lasted quite a bit. I didn't really think about it. I didn't really tell anybody about it until, in fact, they did have a diagnosis. So I just kind of came to the appointments, MRIs, X-rays, and just did all that on my own until they actually gave me the phone call. And then I actually started chemo on my birthday. My youngest broke down. I think my oldest son was in shock. My daughter was in Colorado with her husband. So my mom kind of like talked to the boys, because I didn't want to talk to them and be all super emotional, crying and, getting them upset. You know what I mean? I just didn't want them to worry. And I guess that's also kind of what made me going through chemo early, because I was, blessed to work all through chemo. I had some sick days where I had to, go home early, but a lot of folks aren't able to do that. So I did work all through chemo, and it did help that I had great, wonderful doctors. Everybody at Ellis was just so kind. I had a great team. It was comfortable, I trusted them with certain decisions, and they was like Dr. Cornevin, she was straightforward. Dr. Colbert made me feel really, comfortable. We talked about everything, and he wanted to make sure that I was comfortable, that I liked every decision. And then I had Dr. Nastala, which I truly love. They was just great. Like my navigator, like she took care. I didn't have to stress out for nothing, pretty much. Like everything was set up. They made it as easy as possible, not to stress about certain situations. Like when it came to surgery, about my FMLA papers, like they handled it. The transition through every step was pretty easy. And like in the chemo department, I had wonderful nurses. And I'm still got other tests. Like I just got done with my total hysterectomy last week. So it's just been surgeries after surgeries, on and off, so I'm still going through the process. My main focus was like keep working, take care of home and family, and that's it. I didn't want to dwell on it, because I figure if you dwell on it, then you're really going to feel sick and break down, and I just didn't have time for that. The hardest part for me probably would be honestly just looking in the mirror every morning. That would probably be my hardest part. So once I get clothes on, I put on my face and I go on throughout my day. So that's it, because I got to get used to this new self. Support's out there. You just have to be open to it, and a lot of that got me through it too, even though we wasn't like on the same, maybe they was stage 3, maybe, they just was at a phase we didn't have the same chemo treatment. But just the fact that there's somebody that you can talk to, and they beat it, they keep you positive when you have doubts. It's out there. There is a community out there, websites. I went on to Susan Komen. And anything that came up new, I just, researched it on the cancer sites, of course, because there's a lot of misleading information. And, I just try to learn more about it, and if I try any questions I had, talk to your doctors, get as much information. They're there for that, just be open, don't shut down. You shut down, then the negativity will just eat you up, and it'll just put you in a bad space. Stay positive, and give it all you got. Just fight, don't have a negative attitude towards it. Just go with the thought that you will beat this process.